So as we were saying, just a moment ago, Nokius in line 294 is it's an adverb modifying, the verb in 295. He's given his commands to Menestheus, Sergestus, and brave Serestus, told them to do several things, and I'll do it talkity. Says, while you boys are doing that, I'm going to be over here lying to Dido.
We're like lying to Dido.
That's already happened.
See, Trooper redeems himself. The man assistant.
You know, we won't be able to show this little sitcom in prime time, okay?
Oh, all right.
Won't be able to show this on Nickelodeon, so let's keep the adult
I feel like
comments.
we could do like Big Bang Theory time, like 6:30.
Yeah, I mean, nobody likes to do
You remind me
I
so
like
much.
that.
I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah, me too. Me too, absolutely.
Okay.
Or Seinfeld.
Yeah, so.
Throwing that to the greatest sitcom of all time.
So he's given his commands.
See, how I met your mother was
Let's give us
And
I like
omnes.
I know.
They
And anytime it's on his
lighty.
house, I'm like, I love that show. And he's like, no.
Napoli parent.
Oh, I
He's
love that.
imperial.
I know, it's
The
incredible.
Napoli obey his power. I happily do it actually always
What's yours then?
rather quickly. Swiftly, yes.
said
Oh,
Seinfeld.
there's others now getting in on the class.
Yeah,
It looks like there's a diagonal line right here. You all right here are part of the class.
Danny was like stranded.
Oh, yes, student helper locked outside the door. This has been.
Yeah, somebody open the door for
No,
Sam.
no. I've been waiting for this moment.
I've been waiting
Oh my gosh.
for a Sam like you. Okay.
And nobody took him out.
You're vermin. You are vermin.
It's you're on camera.
Not you.
The camera's
Yeah.
probably
No, I know.
It's socially acceptable to call a student helper vermin. What else?
Excuse me?
A human being? Shit. That's funny. That's cute. Oh, that's cute.
Just keep tape rolling.
Oh, okay. Mickey,
That's
is-
evidence.
Mickey is my idol.
Why?
I model my life after.
It's my protege.
I saw
you-
Mickey at a party once. I'm like, Mickey! It was the greatest moment of my life.
Where do you want the pins?
That was at the party you got jumped.
Perfect.
And that's on camera.
And he had jumped.
He got jumped.
We're not talking about this anymore.
And there was a rumor that I went up to the.
Shut your mouth, Christian.
No, this is funny.
So done.
We're done.
You're done.
Christian.
I'm sticking a fork in you. You are done.
Done.
Okay.
This was about to be the funniest part of the story.
Okay.
It probably was.
I'm trying to introduce you
Yeah.
to one of the greatest works of Western literature, and you're telling me the highlight of your life is seeing Mickey at a party. That crushes my soul. Okay? All right.
I didn't know anybody there. And
They all quickly obey, and they do as ordered. At Regina. Now, I'm going to tell you, 296, all the way through 330. Okay? 296 through 330. We could easily camp out on that section of lines for a solid week, easily. This is some of the most artistic stuff that Virgil does. The characterization of Dido at this moment, when she does realize what's going on and when she confronts Aeneas, is some of the best dialogue and characterization you're ever going to see. But Regina Dolos, skip the parentheses, Praesensit. But the queen Praesensit Dolos.
Fraud.
She
And there's the other
sensed
helper.
shenanigans. Yes.
She suspected.
She suspect. No, I wouldn't do that. But
Well, no, not shenanigans.
right. But she sensed tricks. She perceived tricks. And Virgil even admits in parentheses.
She said sticks.
He says quis. Not which, but who is able to follow Adamantum.
Who was able to cheat the
lover?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got, you're on top.
Is it?
So she sends
Deceive
tricks
alone?
No,
with it.
she sensed trickery, and he says in parentheses, yeah, this on the side, for who possit, who is able to fallera a montem, to trick a lover.
What is shenanigans derived from?
Oh, it is.
Yes.
I have no idea. I don't know why, but for some reason that sounds
I would-
Irish to me.
I would
I don't know.
It does sound
Germanic.
Germanic.
Comes
Yeah,
from Germany.
maybe, okay.
Schlintrod.
This is worth noting.
Yeah.
This is worth noting for all of you. You ever find yourself in a bad way with your significant other, don't expect really that you're gonna lie your way out of it. Because if you're sufficiently close, the person's gonna know. The person's gonna sense the truth. And I think he makes a good point here. He's on, who really can trick a lover? They always know. And she sensed trickery. Motus quexcapit prima futuros omnia tuta timens. And she prima excapit. She first.
Received.
Take one of the later meanings.
She replied or understood.
She first understood. Literally, she took out of all that was going on, right? So if you take a message out of something, you therefore have understood it, right? So she pieces together the clues and she pulls out what's going on. She first figured out futuros motus.
Oh,
Yeah.
The future movements. Guys are running around on a beach. Sails are starting to rise on ships. There's been an awful lot of foodstuffs being sold at the local Walmart. I'm thinking the guys are getting ready to sail. Okay, I mean, she recognizes the futuros motus, what's about to happen. Omnia tuta timens. She recognized all this. Timens, dreading or fearing, omnia tuta,
That all was safe.
that all is safe. She's afraid now, fearing all things that say, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. I'm not trusting. You know, she's not trusting that all things are safe. She sensed that something was wrong. She doesn't trust the situation. And of course, eadem impia fama furenti detulit armari classem cursumque parare. Now, she figured out a lot on her own, but she has a little help. Fama, rumor, and to make sure you make the connection, it's the eadem rumor. That same rumor, right? That same impia rumor. Impious or disloyal rumor. What is so interesting about this? What's Aeneas known for? Loyalty. But clearly somebody among his men wasn't loyal, right? He told the three, get everybody together, do this stuff quietly, and if anybody asks you, dissimulate, right? Pretend, cover it over. Clearly somebody didn't. Because rumor doesn't come out of nothing. It's spread by humans. And so clearly someone talked. And with regard to Aeneas, that is definitely impia. It's disloyal to him. And so the same disloyal rumor, detulit, brought, now, you usually bring something to somebody. Can you find a dative in those two lines? Can you find a dative? Usually take or bring something to somebody. Minimac. Right? It is not.
Ferenti.
Ferenti. Very good.
Oh.
Ferens ferentis is a third declension ending, of course, present participle.
Yeah.
Rumor brought this to her, Ferenti.
Quickly.
No, it describes her.
Furious.
She who is raging. All right, right, now this is going to be a big image in the next couple lines here. Dido is, she's taking the bullet train around the bend, essentially. Okay, I mean, she is going to go completely crazy here, literally crazy. And she is at this point being filled with furor, with madness. Now, we've had that word before, madness or rage. And so while she is raging, right, she's kind of getting, kind of that wild-eyed, crazy look, what's he doing to me? Here comes rumor, while she's in that state already, brought her news, and then we've got an indirect statement. So what is it that rumor brought her? Rumor brought her an indirect statement that the clausem parari, that the clausem armari, that the clausem, that the fleet is being armari, is being armored up, as being equipped with weapons, and that the cursum, their course of departure, is being parari, is being prepared. So she was already suspicious. She sensed something ahead of time. And while she's getting all worked up, rumor actually comes along and confirms this to her. Now, note, do you see that that's an indirect statement? Clausem, cursum, two accusatives, with armari and parari, two infinitives. And of course, if you look at the arrangement of words, you've got a what? Got a chiasmus, Caitlin, very good. And of course, you've got the indirect object ferenti there. Well, as a result, line 300, this is pretty darn scary. And if you're a man, this is as terrifying as it gets. Saevit inops anime. She raged, raved, stormed around. The word saiwam, right, was used to describe Juno back in book 1. She now is a verb, sairio, saivita. She raged around, it's really savage, being inops anime, out of her mind. Literally, she has no opus. She has no resources of mind. In is a negative prefix. Right, so she has no resources of mind. She's out of her mind. She raged out of her mind. Intensa. Burning throughout the totem urbem. Throughout the whole city.
How do you know Totem is with it?
Great question. Heck, that's the kind of question you should ask. How do I know that totem goes with urbem? Somebody? Both accusative, and they're both, well, it's a direct, object of prayer.
Caitlin made a good point.
But it's, it goes with urbem. Yes?
Caitlin made a good point, yeah.
Foreshadowing. Well, okay, that's good, that's true.
Around the
But mainly accusative singular feminines. Okay?
Oh,
She
really?
raged throughout the whole city, out of her mind, as a bakator. Okay.
As a people.
Okay. Bakator, look, bakator is parallel to silent. Okay? So she's silent in upsonomy, and totem per urbem, she bakator in kensa. She raged, raved, etc. But of course, you look at that verb bakor, bakari, and you see what deity?
Bacchus.
Bacchus. Okay. We talked about what's the play? Pentheus and it was just the Bacchae. Yeah, it's the Bacchae. We talked about that Greek play, the Bacchae.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All went crazy.
Okay, what's that?
Didn't like the actors go crazy, something like that?
Something like that. Do we know the story?
Yeah, you told it to us.
Pentheus,
I feel like
King
Yeah.
of Thieves.
wandering through, that's not person just
Mother Earth herself, right?
That's it. That's the story. Bacchus, Dionysus, comes to Thebes. He's been setting up his cult throughout Greece. He wants to set up worship there in Thebes, and Pentheus says no. Bacchus, Dionysus says, well, we'll just see about that. He does it anyhow. The thing is, the devotees of Bacchus were women. This was one of the few, or one of the all female cults. It was one of the mystery religions, which means that the rites were closed to outsiders. You weren't supposed to know what was going on unless you were an initiate of the cult. And so the women would go out, basically they'd go out and go camping and get drunk, is what it amounted to. You know, go out into the countryside on the mountainside and, you know, get hammered on wine and be worshiping Bacchus. What's that?
Sorority.
Well, we're not going to go there. Anyhow, you can understand why Pentheus would not want this cult in his city, because this is very disruptive, and you, of course, disrupts family life, and you know, we can't have the women out there getting, you know, all liquored up and stuff. So he says no. So Bacchus does it anyhow, and among the women, of course, is Pentheus' mother. Pentheus wants to know what's going on. He disguises himself as a deer, goes out, the women are all crazy, they're like, oh, look, a deer. They grab him and rip him apart. They come back into the city carrying the body parts of this deer, which is really the king, and everybody starts having this horrific look, and the women slowly start to come out of their Bacchic trance and realize what it is that they're holding in their hands. So it ends in horrible tragedy. That's why I say, especially for a guy, to hear that your woman is raging around like a devotee of Bacchus, this is bad news. This is bad news. Quales commotis excita sacristias, ubi audito stimulant triaterica Baccho orgia, nocturnusque vocat clamore Gethyron. He says, it's just like when Qualis, you know, just like when a theos, right, a bacchant, and that's what you call these women, a bacchant. A bacchant, having been excita by commotis sacris, yeah, well, I haven't been stirred up or excited by the commotis sacris.
Sacred movement.
By the sacred movements. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Ubi audito stimulant triaterica Baccho orgia, nocturnusque vocat clamore Gethyron. When what? The triaterica orgia. Yeah, what's triennial? Every 3 years. When the every 3 years orgia, yep. When every 3 years wild party stimulant them, yeah, spurs them on, when Baccho has been audito. Mm-hmm. And Nocturnus Gethyron. Yeah, even the nocturnal Gethyron woke up them with clamore. Calls them with a shout. Have you seen the 1931 Bela Lugosi version of Dracula?
Yeah.
Have I seen that?
No.
I'm not sure. Sometimes you can get whole movies on YouTube for free. I'm not sure if that one's out or not. It may not be. Somebody probably owns the copyright, still has renewed it. If you ever get a chance to see the 1931 Dracula, it's worth seeing. Now, it's different from the book in some ways, but in some ways it's a classic image of American cinema, and that's the kind of classic image you ever had of Dracula. But, of course, it's black and white, 1931, for heaven's sakes. But the movie is just dark, and there's real scariness to it. And I don't know, I'm having this image, because the whole thing takes place in the mountains of Transylvania, okay? Has anybody ever read Dracula? Just curious. I know Mr. Armstrong doesn't like it, but I do. I think they used to read it, and he prefers to read Frankenstein. But I like Dracula. And it happens in the mountains of Transylvania and so forth. And there's lots of fog. It's real misty, and you know, there's just lots of atmosphere here to create the horrific effect. That's what I'm seeing here. Almost, right? They're stirred up just like a devotee of Bacchus, who has been excita by Comoti's sons. When two things happen. Women get all stirred up, and two things happen. When the triaterica orgia stimulant them, when the biennial orgies or triennial orgies stir them up, and this is the spookier part, when the Nocturnus Kithyron, when the nocturnal or nighttime Mount Kithyron calls them with a shout. Okay, so they're being beckoned to the wilderness, they're being beckoned to the woods and the mountains. Okay, does everybody see that? Okay, we okay?
Wait, so who's Kithyron?
Kithyron's a mountain.
He's a mountain?
Mount Kithyron, yeah, Mount Kithyron, which is where these rites would often take place. Yes.
Just curious, does Dracula have a message like
Does Dracula have a message?
Frankenstein? Yeah, like I know
Is there a
Frankenstein,
Michael Moore?
yeah, intended to be like the danger of silence.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Not that. I mean, obviously, it's a totally different story. No, I mean, it's the classic good versus evil, but it is particularly Christian. It is the triumph of Christianity over kind of Satanism.
Wasn't
kind
there
of
one
stuff.
before that?
Because what's that?
Wasn't there a vampire?
A film, yeah,
Wasn't it like
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, that's also a classic.
Not Nosferatu.
But I'm not sure. I'm not even sure all of that film exists.
What is that, bro?
I think some of that film has been degraded over time. We only have parts of it left.
That's
Graveyard
so
Shift.
It's like
funny.
a
Nosferatu.
What was that?
He's like turning up the lights. It's so good.
Okay, that's certainly a classic. Max. Oh, what was the guy's name that played the main character? Max. Somebody. First name is Max.
From what?
They played the main character in Nosferatu. I can't remember.
It's in my notes.
Yeah. Yeah, Danielle.
So, like, these women, right, you're like a cult.
Yes.
And after they've, like, you know, done something horrendous like this, or
Mhm.
horrific, you think they would stop, because it was like, this isn't the first time it's like they ripped someone apart on accident. So, like, why don't they, like, stop? Or is it like the whole...
Well, for one thing, what these guys are kind of clowning around with is part of the answer. I mean, how many people do you know or have heard of who have done stupid things that resulted in tragedy and have gone back and done similar stupid things again? To a certain extent, that's human nature. Now, about ripping people apart, I think the classic, but really the only example of that is Pamphlets.
Because, like, wasn't there, like, I forget the story, but, like, I forget his name, but, like, he went into the underworld to save his wife. And then, yeah,
Orpheus.
And then, like, wasn't he, like, killed in the end by them or something?
He was, yeah.
By the Bacchus.
Yeah, he was in
Was
the
he playing in the
he
woods
was
or
in
something?
the woods of the mountain. I don't remember the mountain name, but he was playing, and the followers of Bacchus came and tore him apart in their mad fury.
Was that a throwback to Bacchae, like the play there?
It's like, that's why that was, like, bringing back memories of that. Like, I find
I've got to confess complete brain blackout on that one. I'm not tracking that one at all. Question is, which story came first?
Yeah.
Did that predate Euripides' Bacchae or not? That's too close. The stories are too close. One had to influence the other. Am I looking? Orpheus.
Yes,
Oh, wait a minute.
it's at the it's obviously at the end.
yeah, it's in the very last story, like, he goes through all of that awful stuff,
Orpheus
and then he gets
Maximus.
torn apart, and you're just like, oh,
Transform.
okay. End of that story.
Okay. His grief for the loss of Eurydice led him to treat with contempt the Thracian women, who in revenge tore into pieces under the excitement of their bacchanalian orgies. After After his death, Theseus collected the fragments of his body, buried them at Laberthra, at the foot of Olympus, where the nightingale sang sweetly over his grave. I'm just blanking at the moment. I'm not, even though I read now, I'm still not tracking with who wrote that.
Which one came first though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I don't. It's not in a play. Well, I have to look into that. I'm sorry. I'm totally blanking.
Because
It's okay.
Yeah. Kind of goes back to the original question.
At any rate, yeah.
Was that a normal thing? I guess for the Bacchus?
Yeah,
Right.
so
Is
I was
that
just like,
right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
People are just going crazy.
Well, now, all right. Let's pull that back a little bit more too. Obviously, neither one of those stories happen in reality, but those are stories told because we don't want the women out getting drunk. Look at the bad things that can happen. Okay, ultimately that's what that's about. That's why ultimately why Pentheus didn't want them thieves, right? And you can interpret all that the Bacchic stuff quite honestly as a liberation of women, or at least having a time of freedom every 3 years. And certainly in that culture, you can see them being very opposed to that. And so it creates, well, you know what, you heard what happened to Pentheus, didn't you? You know, when they let his women. And so you can see that being used that way. So that ultimately, that's what's underlying. And again, that's why I come back to, for Virgil to describe Dido as that is particularly frightening. Again, for Aeneas. Finally, with his vocibus, Aeneon compelled ultra.
And he addresses all of these
He addresses her with his vocibus,
with this voice.
with his voices, or you could basically say he's verbis, with these words. And he addressed her, interestingly enough, ultra, voluntarily. He does go up to her and volunteers and speaks. Okay, and he's going to have some things to say. And, oh, I'm sorry, not he. She addresses him.
Oh.
I'm sorry, she addresses him.
So she probably addresses him.
Because 305 through 330 is her crazed speech. Now, I got to tell you, when we get into this, you better be well prepared because we're going to really need to tear this apart. So, your homework is 305 to 319, and then the next day is 320 to 330. So, we're going to be 2 days of homework on it. Be well prepared for it. Sam, kill the camera.